Good morning, and thank you for tuning in again to Hippie-Clectic Hope videos. I'm Sherry Kirchhoff, and today I'm going to be discussing President Andrew Yang's campaign with you. Now, I'm one of many who have been completely burned out on politics. You ever see the South Park episode, we don't get a good choice in our politicians. So, I don't know, I just haven't had much interest until I heard about Andrew Yang. And he's open and informative and honest. He wants to tell you his thoughts and ideas, as opposed to everybody else who stands before you. We need to think outside the box, and we need to make America strong. That's beautiful, but if you don't have a way to do it, if all you're actually doing is continuing the conflict between the rich and the poor among us, you're not my buddy. So, hearing about Andrew Yang has given me so much hope. And, you know, everything I'm going to tell you and more can be found in Andrew Yang's own words. You know, I'm only interpreting them. So I might get a couple things, you know, not quite according to his exact thoughts, but it's my interpretation of Andrew Yang. So you can find everything, you know, from the horse's mouth, as they say, at yang2020.com/policies, or by going to yanglinks.com and seeing videos of the interviews he's done previously. You know, in the Democratic debates, he's had the least amount of talk time and had the most to say. But you can very easily ask him every single question that the moderators had, and he'd have the best answer, hands down. So, you know, if you have any further questions on him, you know, like I said, refer to yang2020.com/policies or go to yanglinks.com. You'll spend days just soaking up information. Andrew Yang is great. But let's get started on a couple of his more popular policies, and I'll get more in depth with his other 100 ideas in future videos. The first thing I should discuss is the universal basic income, because since it's Andrew Yang's flagship proposal, it's the one he's spoken most about, and it's the one that his opponents have dumped on the most. So there's been a lot of misinformation. So I'm here along with my fellow YouTubers, better YouTubers, to help explain this. You know, like one of my friends, he's a devout Trumpist, poor guy. But we're still friends, we still hang out, we still talk. And I'm trying to convince him of my views, and he's trying to convince me of his views, but we're still friends at the end of the day. It's cool. But he was of the opinion that he would be paying for my freedom dividend bill. Uncle Sam would be sending him a bill every month. You owe $1,000, and then I would be receiving a check in the mail every month. Hey, $1,000. That is so not what's going on here. That's the whole point of universal income. Everybody gets it. You don't pay mine. I don't pay the homeless guy. You know, and that $1,000, even though it is an opt-in thing, like we can opt out of our food stamps and TANF and rent assistance and such, and move to a smaller, you know, less expensive community where these resources aren't so expensive. You know, I could save the taxpayers a lot by going to a smaller town, and, you know, where my rent would be $700 instead of $1,400 for this 2-bedroom apartment for myself, my son, and our companion cat. You know, instead, I'm in expensive Denver, where everything, it's almost like New York or Los Angeles, you know. And it would be a lot better used in a smaller community. So, you know, I could opt in to the universal basic income. I could opt in to freedom dividend and go somewhere smaller and less expensive. Like my last apartment in Wisconsin was like $450. I could literally get 3 apartments on my same Section 8 voucher. Or I could just move and save American taxpayers $800 a month, $1,000 a month. I like that idea. And that's what Andrew Yang's proposing here with his freedom dividend. And on top of that, it stacks on to Social Security, disability, and pension if you have that, or your retirement account if you have a 401k still. Mine disappeared. But hey, if one of you has a magical 401k that hasn't gone poof, then you still get that. You're not opting out of your retirement. And you still get your salary. You know, whereas with me on my welfare trap, if I get a job at McDonald's, I lose exactly that much welfare. I lose my gross, and I eat my taxes, and my gas to get to work, and my babysitter expense, and everything else, just for trying to get a job. Whereas with the freedom dividend, I could get my $1,000 in a less expensive community and work part-time at the library or work part-time at the school or teach a couple arts and crafts classes or do something part-time. I don't have to cart my crippled keister all over town to work 40 plus hours and then barely pay my bills and lose all my welfare. I'm darned if I do, darned if I don't. Whereas that changes with the freedom dividend. And now another one of the big problems that people have with it is, wondering how we're going to pay for the freedom dividend. This is $1,000 a month to every American citizen, every single American citizen, rich, poor, everyone. You're over 18, you're not in jail or prison, you get the freedom dividend. But that sounds expensive. Well, what Andrew Yang's proposing to solve that is a value-added tax. It's something that Europe's been doing forever. Excuse me. They have, well, we're going to do it even a little better. See, the VAT in Europe, they tax everything, 20%, which is astronomical. We're used to a 5.5, 6, etc. Somewhere in there, sales tax. So a 20% VAT is very scary to people, and I can understand that. But what Andrew Yang's proposing, and this is what makes it different, is he's only proposing a 10% tax, so that's half of the European level, and he's not taxing necessities, food, diapers, household staples, the things we need day-to-day living. He's not taxing that. He's taxing expensive luxury items, stuff that poor people don't buy, and wealthier people can afford to pay an extra tax on something that's marketed to wealthy people. So that, it's only a 10% tax as opposed to the 20% European standard. So like with Amazon avoiding paying taxes. Oh, I didn't make any profit because I bought my own stock. Well, you made profit and you bought your own stock. So you're getting VAT tax. You increased in value, you are getting taxed on that. It's like when you're playing Monopoly and you buy a bunch of hotels. Oh, I can't afford to pay for landing on your property. No, you're going to mortgage your hotels. You're paying tax on that. So if you buy your Cadillac or your private backyard pool or those Amazon stocks, they're going to cost 10% more. It's not going to hurt the people who can afford these things. But it's not going to affect the people who aren't bothering with it either. I don't have a fishing boat in my parking space, so I don't have to pay taxes on a fishing boat in my parking space. That's easy. We live according to our means that way. And another objection is that business owners would lose out from, receiving freedom dividend versus paying for VAT. Now, remember, you would need to, for a 10% tax, you would need to spend 10 times the $1,000 in order to pay an extra $1,000 in VAT tax. You would need to spend $10,000 on luxury goods every single month in order to go downhill at all. That's you, me, everyone in the country. If you can cross that bar, then you can afford to. And another big objection, and this is goofy, people are saying that inflation is going to skyrocket overnight. That Smiley meal at the drive-thru is going to cost $10 now, and your car wash is going to double, and your parking space is going to double, and your rent's going to go through the roof. And no, it's not Price-mageddon. Our American dollars are not going to become wallpaper because of a freedom dividend. You're silly. This is, there's still going to be competition in marketing. The gas station who's charging $3 a gallon for gas is not going to get as much business as the gas station who's charging $2.75 a gallon for gas. I'm saving 25 cents for multiple gallons of gas. I'm going across the street to Joe's. That's easy. Prices are still going to stay competitive. It's not like there's going to be a flood of more money coming into the economy. It's not like when the gold standard was canceled. This isn't going to affect it like that did. So, any other business owner, landlord, or service provider will simply lose business to business owners who do not skyrocket their prices. It's a simple concept. You can't bleed a turnip and there's not more money going into the economy. It's just spreading further. So, let's see. And then another objection is that people think that recipients of the freedom dividend will simply move to a cheap area, not work, sit in their house, collect their freedom dividend, do drugs, get drunk, beat their wives. No. $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year is still under the federal poverty level. That's anywhere. You cannot really reasonably survive on $12,000 a year. However, you will have this building block to build yourself up. Like when you start the Monopoly game and everyone gets $1,500. If you start somebody off with $50 and their neighbor with $1,500, guess who's gonna win within 3 turns? The freedom dividend is not a bailout for Americans who don't want to work. It is a building block for Americans who need help to prosper. And it's a little extra treat for people who are doing well enough without it. Here's an extra ice cream cone with your dinner. Congratulations. This is life as an American now. It sounds great, right? And if, someone is too old or disabled or sick to work and build themselves up, then they can go somewhere cheaper, like maybe move in with their son somewhere cheaper. And then you have 2 recipients of the freedom dividend, 3 if you or your son are married, and, 4, pool your resources. No person's a mountain. You don't have to do it alone. You can, have a friend or family member help you out. You're not going to be draining on that friend or family member's resources. And there's not going to sprout up conflict in the household. The biggest arguments with family members and other roommates is, inequality of income. I'm paying all your bills. Well, here's an extra $1,000 a month. The rent's paid now. There's no excuse. Here's $300 for the room in the basement, Mom. Thanks. Cool. And then one more thing, someone like me, I have skills even though I can't work full time. with the freedom dividend, I could go somewhere less expensive and open up, you know, my arts and crafts businesses. I can get started with stuff instead of trying to make, you know, a couple bucks here and there, or raising money for a charity like what I'm doing. I'm currently partnered with Impact locally out of Denver, and I'm also, you know, trying to raise some funds for Andrew Yang's campaign. You know, it's, you know, Artists for Yang. Here's what we can do when we have a couple extra dollars to be productive with. You know, $10 at Joanne's Crafts can get a bunch of supplies to make a bunch of different projects. You know, I could make $50 off a $10 bill. It's just going to be an eventually thing. You know, unless I'm making and selling full-time all day, every day, I can't make a living with that either. You know, purely as an arts and crafts lady. Especially with the part-time hours that these arthritic fingers, I mean, can you see how crooked my fingers are? I can't make a pair of sets of earrings for more than, you know, half hour to an hour at a time. And that's not enough to pay my bills, but I can help out a cause. With the freedom dividend, it'll be just a little supplement to my income. I'll be on my $1,000 freedom dividend, but I'll have my little table set out in the front yard, and, you know, like a rummage sale style. And I can, you know, do that for myself and my son, like, you know, kids with their lemonade stand or whatever. You know, I can get a little, you know, sell table vendor license. It's, you know, easy and cheap enough to do. And that option would be available to me if I'm able to get out of the welfare trap in the big city. You know, I don't want to remain in Denver where I can't afford to support myself and live. This is not a productive way of going about things. And President Yang's freedom dividend would free me and everybody else who's stuck like this from that fate and let us mobilize and be productive elsewhere instead of being trapped in the welfare bubble, where you can't earn anything, you can't do anything, you can barely continue sucking air every month if they manage to send you your recertification paperwork. If you don't get paperwork in the mail, they could just cut your benefits off because you didn't turn in the stuff that you didn't know you had to turn in. I mean, people go through that hassle every month. That's why the welfare office is so crowded on the first of the month. It's not because we're trying to beat everyone else in line the rest of the month. It's because our benefits got shut off and we don't know why. And we received no notice, didn't do anything wrong to our knowledge. This happens every day. And with the freedom dividend, it won't. I'll be able to do what I gotta do on the first of the month and be productive and set up my craft table, or maybe watch the neighbor's kids, or maybe plant flowers in the library and get some social credits. I call them karma points. I'm not really too keen on the social credits term, but I'll get into more of that in the next video. I think I've beaten the freedom dividend to death on any doubt that may have arisen. If there are any further questions, again, go to yanglinks.com and see Andrew Yang's interview videos, or go to yang2020.com/policies. He's got so much to tell us all about how he wants to fix America. Andrew Yang wants to set the clock forward and develop this country like the rest of the modern world has done in their home countries. America has fallen so far behind, and we don't really fully understand that. Andrew Yang is here to catch us up, and the universal basic income, the freedom dividend, is just the beginning of what he's got planned. So stay tuned. I'll have more videos. Freedom dividend kind of got away from me time-wise, but there's a lot of other good stuff to discuss. So come back another time. Thanks again for tuning in to Hippie-Clectic Hope. I'm Sherry Kirchhoff, and it was wonderful chatting with you again. Take care. Remember to hit the like button if you gain some knowledge or hope from my videos, or have some fun with my crafts when I get more of them posted, you know, subscribe if you're looking forward to hearing more from me. So have a blessed day, and thank you once again.